And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think this is working. 0.5? 0.2, 0.5? What? That doesn't even make sense. 0.1.
Is that working?
0.05. 0.01. 0.005.
Is that how you normally
0.001. Okay, good. Okay, looks like we popped on. Hey, Laowinners, it's the Law86 here with another video. I figured we just have a kind of a hangout session. And there's a reason. Wow, we literally look like Christmas right now. I'm red as a
green.
beet and you're green as a gecko.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Must be your setting.
Dude, I've fiddled with these settings. You know, it's the same problem for Winston, actually. He turns green, I turn red as well. We're just getting ready for Christmas a little bit early. Mm-hmm. Now, a couple things I wanted to say is I wanted to have a chill out stream. We obviously have some points to talk about. Our main topic is the things that we can't get used to in the U.S. Mm-hmm. The reason we came up with that is actually I put up a poll on our Patreon, and I didn't expect that one to get so many votes. It was the second highest voted topic out of like 8 topics or something.
Okay.
So I decided we could cover it live because it's one of those situations where it's better if it's not planned. If we just like talk about like this stuff off the cuff that like we can't get used to in the US. Number 2, I wasn't able to make a produced video this week because I just got out of the emergency room and the intensive care unit. I was in the ICU. Of all places. That was one of the most horrifying experiences of my entire life. I won't get into too much detail, but I had a slew of problems. The first being bacterial pneumonia, which obviously gave us a scare that it was COVID-19. Mm-hmm. I had a team of doctors and nurses surrounding me that just had absolutely no idea what was going on. But props to them because they literally saved my life. Mm-hmm. So seriously, I'm in forever debt to them. They threw everything but the kitchen sink at me to try to get me better. But the bacterial pneumonia triggered a ton of other stuff. And it was touch and go for a little while. It was bad.
Isn't that the doctor asks you, is it or nurse asks you, do you have will?
Do I have a will? Yeah. I think that might be a standard medical procedure, but this is the last thing you want to do when you're like on a respirator. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can't believe I'm even laughing about this, but oh my gosh, it's horrible. Long story short, I finally get out. I was admitted Sunday at midnight, thereabouts. Yeah. 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And I actually thought I was going to have a heart attack. Mm-hmm. Actually, I was going into respiratory arrest, and they got me right in. But they tried so many things to try to get my heart rate down and also to try to make it so I could get oxygen. My oxygen was tanking, my O2 levels. So they hooked me up to all the garbage and all that kind of stuff and wires. I looked like an android. They had IVs coming out. They gave me oxygen, all this kind of stuff. And they figured it out after a few hours, but they tried everything to try to like keep me going. Mm-hmm. And I was just sitting there and I saw my life flash before my eyes, dude. Like, the funny thing is, they told me it's totally random, right? And there was a bunch of other stuff that happened because of it, but it was totally random. And the doctors immediately thought I was going into complications from coronavirus. Immediately. When they saw my chest x-ray. Mm-hmm. But because it looks very similar to bacterial pneumonia. So it turns out it just happened. It's random and it's very scary. And I've had a couple patrons actually reach out and tell me that it was, they've gone through that as well. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying. Long story short, I get admitted to the ICU. So after the ER, they're like, we're going to admit you to the hospital. I'm like, okay, at least I get a hospital bed and blah, blah. No, they sent me to the intensive care unit and they're wheeling dead people out, dude. It was the last thing I want to see is I go up to the ICU and they're literally wheeling dead people out and they're like carting me into this room and oh my gosh, dude. And like pissing in a jug and can't barely move and they're trying to get my fever down and this video is not supposed to be about this, by the way.
Everything you're talking about, it's not making me feel any easier right now.
I just wanted to get everyone up to speed. Now the reason that Winston Serpent ZA doesn't have a video this week as well is that actually he's in the hospital as well. So we both ended up in the hospital. He was also in the ER. His turned out to be appendicitis.
Yeah. But you guys both like for...
Yeah, it was like within the same week.
Yeah, for some reason you just
Dude, 2020 is a bad year. It's put me in such a dark place. When I came home, I saw you guys and I just wanted to cry because like obviously missed you because I was in the hospital. I almost died. And number 3, I legitimately don't know what's next. It's like, where's the light at the end of the tunnel here, guys? You know? Anyway, thank you for being there for me. And thanks for everyone for being patient and not having a video this week. That's why we decided to do it on the Saturday. Figured I'd bring you out of the woodwork to get the cobwebs off a little bit. Baby's been quite busy, raising 2 children.
Yeah, so this setting making me kind of nervous because I don't
Seems to be the bright, shining lights. We got a lot of people saying, glad you're out of the hospital. Matt Argatar, thank you very much. We also had good old Grady Gillis for the deductible or something special for the girls. I mean, I have health insurance. I'm a little worried, though. We have no idea what actually is entailed.
Yeah, you are seriously like a lab mouse, technically. Every single test you have.
Oh, yeah, dude. They did because they didn't know what the hell was going on. Mm-hmm. They did 17 blood tests on me. I'm not joking. I am absolutely cut. I look like a freaking heroin junkie. Literally, they ran out of veins, so they start going in my hand, and they're like, the hand is pretty painful. They start jabbing me in the stomach.
Yeah.
I'm getting anticoagulants because they thought I was having a heart attack, so they're anticoagulating my blood through my stomach. They're like, I'm like, again? They're like, a few hours later, like, here we go again. I'm like, what the frick, dude?
Usually at night I sleep like a pig. Even you move, I can never hear. But this, I just couldn't sleep.
You couldn't deal with it?
I can't. Yeah. No.
Anyway, Jan Fauska says, where are your kids, guys? They're sleeping right now. Vivi looks gorgeous. I want a beautiful wife, too.
Thank you.
I'm in a town called Valtis in Czechia. Look it up. Be healthy and happy. Thank you very much. And we'll look at one more before we. I'm glad you're out of the hospital, Dion Chapman. Man, it would feel so much. It would feel so much in the CCP virus. Glad you pulled through. Thank you very much. Now, I feel like because of all this negativity and sadness and horrible situation in my life, that feels like the world is over, and all I have left is you guys. Because of all this,
every single time you just talk about that, I want to cry. So don't talk about it anymore.
Because of all this, I wanted to do a topic that patrons voted on, number 1. Number 2, that's just kind of a nice fun thing. So without further ado, this is going to be really awkward after this goes uploaded, by the way, because it's 10 minutes of me talking about being on my deathbed, and then imagine you're some Karen, and you're like, oh, well, let's see how they're getting used to the US, and it's 10 minutes of and then they had me on life support. Anyway.
Biggest clip ever.
So I was, whenever I talk to people about this, they're like, what's the biggest reverse culture shocks for you guys and all this kind of stuff? I think it's kind of boring. What I like to talk about is stuff that I legitimately and you legitimately just can't get used to, right? We've been here a while, right? And you know what? Just to get this out of the way, one of my pet peeves really pisses me off is when you watch American TV shows, people are always wearing their shoes in the house, and they'll lay down on the bed with their shoes on and the blankets. I'm like, what kind of psychopath does that? And then I hear all these Chinese people, and they're like, Americans always wear their shoes in the house and all that stuff. I'm like, are they getting this from TV or something? Because growing up, I would have gotten the shit beat out of me if I was wearing my shoes in the house. What? Yeah.
Keep going.
Anyway, I just thought that was definitely not a culture shock because I feel like most people take their shoes off in their house.
Winston wears shoes in our house everywhere on our carpet.
That's true. He's not even American, though. He's not American. Maybe that's a South African. Maybe South Africans are really unrefined and have lack of culture.
And every single time, okay. It's time to crap on Winston now. Every single time I say, Winston, take off your shoes. Oh, what? What are you talking about?
Well, he's just trolling at that point. But no, for sure. No, I know some people have that issue, but it's I feel like most people take off their shoes in their house. You know
what? In China, that's people really, really just care about
I get it. It's super
So
animal.
even if any people try to install your stuff and delivery stuff, they need to. A good service means they need to wear that.
They put those
the
things.
wrap. the shoe wrap.
We've had people in our house here do that.
Who?
There was one of those guys, like a plumber or something.
Out of how many thousand?
Okay, yeah, okay.
And rest of people just directly walk in our house. They don't even take off the shoes.
Apologies to the South Africans watching. I was just joking. I know most of you probably have more culture than the average American. Okay, I'm with you on that one. I understand. Okay, that's a good. Well, we can come to a middle ground. Is that like actually? I think Americans should be more anal about taking off their shoes because a lot of people have carpet. Like we have crappy, cheap rental floors or whatever, so we don't have to worry about it. But like growing up, I had carpet.
Well, if you leave the stain on, and then they will keep us fine.
The what?
You know, if you have stain, and then like at the end of the day, if you need to move out, they would check spot.
Yeah.
Last time we keep that rental, they just
the last rental we had. Yeah.
Point out like we end up need 700 or 800 fees for that.
Yeah, that's true. That's
like
true.
800, I can't beat a May.
True, you should be. I'm just joking. We don't believe in traditional gender roles here. Okay. Anyway, this is an interesting one. I think this is more of like it could be a language thing. Have you noticed? And when you're in China, oftentimes people will use the word like "hou" or "tai tian le," "tai tian le," which means like it's too heavy, it's too sweet. And I noticed that like Americans will say something's too salty. Let's say like remember when you helped me cook pasta and I said, "Can you give me like a handful of salt?" I really just meant like this much. But she took the salt like this and she threw it in.
Let's clarify. I asked you, babe, what is handful of salt? You give me this. It's like, this is what? This? Handful of salt is what? You have to give me a definition about what is that. So when you're doing this, like, oh, his hand is so big, probably my hand is so small.
So we couldn't eat the pasta that I spent like an hour and a half cooking. That's my fault. I did say a handful. I should have said a sprinkle.
Then I know.
Anyway, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. My point is that in America, we'll say things like it's too salty or it's too spicy. But there is no word, there's no such phrase as it's too sweet. There's no such thing. It's the most common thing in China to hear. It's like, oh, this is too sweet. 太甜，这个太甜了. But in America, there's either it's sweet or it's not sweet. It's like an on or off switch. You know what I mean? So like if you're eating ice cream, it can't be too sweet because sweet is just sweet. It's not like salt, you know what I mean? Whereas that's something I can't get used to because I understand what too sweet means now. I think stuff is too sweet now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like okay, when we get back in China, when we have those like pastry or bakery cake or something, nothing is too sweet. But when you came here, there was like everything is legitimately come out from the bakery.
Yeah.
Like, you know, those brownie and stuff.
Right.
It's too sweet.
Right.
It's to the point that you will just a little cringe out.
I totally get it.
I don't understand why you guys can, you know, eat that for the whole life and feels like that's nothing. To me, too sweet can be, what's it called? The energy thing. You guys eat the whole thing. Snickers? Snickers?
Snickers is not an energy bar. It's just a candy bar. Bro, you've been in America too long. You're like, dude, that Crunch bar? No. But a Snickers bar? Now that's an energy bar. That'll get me through the day.
Anyways, those kind, to me, is like too sweet already.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I agree with you. It's before I left though, like when I went to China, I didn't have any concept of that. So when people say 这个蛋糕太甜了, this cake is too sweet, especially in China, I'm like, what are you talking about? It tastes like freaking foam. It's just like shaving cream. The only sweet thing on here is the grapes, which are sour. Because I'm coming from America where like you like pour in a cup of sugar in your oatmeal and you call it a day, right? You go to China and you're like the slightest bit of sugar in anything, the dusting of sugar on top of like a pastry or something, they're like, that's like a 太甜了, 太甜了. And I'm like, what does that mean, too sweet? I remember having this conversation so many times. But now I get it, is my point.
I also remember last year, 2 years ago, Halloween, that us and Winston spent together. And Winston and you were saying like you guys can literally finish the whole bag of what's it called? Those candies. To us, it was just like it would directly send you to diabetes coma.
You're definitely speaking more on Winston's behalf than mine.
Remember when we did
Do you remember when we did the candy taste test? I almost died.
That one is pretty bad.
Dude, I almost died.
Well, you were in a keto diet though.
That's true. I can't really handle that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But...
Anyway, that's just it's an interesting thing. Another thing that kind of pisses me off, that I kind of miss about the Chinese diets is the amount of food waste in the U.S. Now, here's the thing. China is, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, the most food wasteful country I've ever been to in my entire life. When you go out, especially if you don't know someone, all the food that's left over is usually thrown out, right? There are pig slop buckets that oftentimes don't go to the pigs, that are just dumped basically in the landfills. Remember under the bridge in Huizhou? Yeah. That bridge area. They're just dumping food waste left and right? A lot of food waste in Chinese cities, not in the countryside, in Chinese cities. Now, the problem is, the food waste I'm talking about is the organs and the pieces of the animal used in the U.S. When I go, and I find this immensely boring. If I go to like a really fancy restaurant in the U.S., which is very rare, but let's say like it's our anniversary or something. Well, obviously we can't go to restaurants now, but let's say last year. You go to a fancy restaurant and it's like highly recommended, and of course the food is going to be fantastic, right? But if you order something like the chicken, it's a chicken breast. You went to a 4 or 5 star restaurant to eat a chicken breast? You can't make a chicken breast taste great. You go there to get a pork chop, You go there to get a cut of meat that is so bland and so boring. You go there to get a salmon fillet, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. There's no skin on it. It's not crispy on the outside. A lot of times, if we're talking about like beef cuts and stuff, I want to have some of the stomach. I'm sorry. I want to have some of the tendons. I want to have some of the, the offcuts. I want some of that stuff. I crave some of the intestines, to be honest. I love intestines if they're cooked properly, especially with chilies and stuff.
But I don't think that's necessarily the American style.
That's the thing, though, is that my point is that it doesn't matter whether you like those things or not. Let's remove intestines and like pancreas and all that crap, right? I'm just talking about the cuts. Like, a lot of the cuts are just wasted. People will go after the most boring cuts of meat here, even if they're in like a really nice restaurant, which really pisses me off. If you're gonna have like a big bowl of beef noodles or something, I want some of that sinew and that fat, and all that kind of stuff. You want that stuff.
Probably what you're talking about is supposed to be some junky restaurant or something. They will include that.
I don't think so, honestly. I really don't think so. I mean, of course, if you go to like fast food here, then they'll grind up anything inside of there. But like, I'm talking about like if I went to Taiwan and I got a bowl of beef noodles and they gave me a bowl of beef noodles and they didn't have that lard to put in it and they just gave chunks of chuck steak with no fat on it, that would be terrible. Wouldn't you agree? So that kind of pisses me off, how much of the animal is wasted here. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. They put in a sausage.
I like that you're trying to find silver linings, and I'm trying to crap on America. But, I just feel like the meat cuts in Asia in general are just so much better.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Use everything. Every single thing. Bone, we use it to cook soup.
What about the marrow, right?
And, bone used to cook soup. Organ used to just eat. And then the organ that you can't actually eat, they just grind it to a spam kind of.
That's when we get too far. Okay, so I said Americans don't use 80%. That 20% left over that the Chinese people are using for the extra stuff.
We use 100%.
Dude, I saw a video that my Chinese friend sent me inside of, we call it pink, okay? Guys, picture Spam. Okay, picture a can of Spam. You already know that's going to be like nightmare fuel, right? That's going to be freaking awful. Now picture Spam, but in China, in mainland China. In a factory,
every part.
They're grinding up hair, eyes, anuses, tails, everything, to the point where, and then they bleach it, right? and they put it through tube after filter after tube. And guess what? A lot of it goes on the floor, and then they sweep it up and they put it back in the machine. So Chinese Spam comes in these little tubes. It costs like Wu Mao. How much is Wu Mao? Speak of the devil. How much is Wu Mao? It's like a couple cents. Yeah. It's like a couple cents. Yeah, okay. Let's say 5 cents.
No, 5 cents is
maybe 10 cents. I don't know anymore. Let's say 10 cents for it's like a hot dog shape, and it comes with these little twist off things, little piece of metal, little staples at the end, and you twist it off. That pink substance that comes out of there was anus hair, poop, and eyeballs that was on the floor of a factory where people walked on it.
I remember.
That's pink.
Back then, when I was a kid, that's the most delicious thing I can ever have.
Yeah, so Vivi was telling me, she's like, she would beg for extra pink.
I know. And really when we were in elementary school, in the morning we need to go to school to eat. If that day have sausage,
that's what you call. I mean, you call it sausage. You call it. So that's a very liberal term here.
And if we lucky, we have some leftover. We have like 1 or 2. Oh my gosh, that can seriously last our whole day. Keep nibbling like the precious thing you can ever have. And now we know how it made. It's just like, I think I still would eat it.
Wow. Dude, you know what they say, you don't want to see inside the sausage factory? We have, and you're still going for it.
I think if somebody offers for old time's sake.
I've eaten it many times, but that is just horrific stuff, dude.
In my whole life, think about it though. So right now, you saw it and then you say, ew, that's disgusting. It's my whole life, 30-something years we've been eating that. And all of a sudden you saw that you'd stop it. It's like, it doesn't infect you.
That's great logic. That's like saying I put a gun to my head and there's 1 bullet in the chamber. Every time it doesn't go off when I play Russian roulette. Why stop now? You know? Chad, thank you very much for the sticker. Jason, Di Chiochio. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. What a crazy week / year for you guys. For your upcoming hospital bills. Thanks. You guys are scaring the crap out of me about that. I'm a little worried myself. Also, both my wife and I grew up in shoes households. Ooh, interesting. Yeah. Guys, drop in the comment. Did you grow up in an in shoes household? He grew up in the New York City metro area. Jayo, unless you're on a diet. Nice. Thank you. That's very interesting. Good. Now, let's move on to the next thing. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, do not think that... I just have to be very clear. Do not think that the Chinese method of using everything is always good. It's not always good. All right. It's often very bad. Anyway, I mean, that's where degoyo comes from, gutter oil.
Yeah.
You know, that's when you waste too little.
When you went too far.
When you've gone to the dark side.
Let's find in the middle.
Yeah, like the emperor of the Sith drinks degoyo, you know. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is one that I was shocked at. Fast food. So fast food in China is blown up. It's massively blown up. So popular. When I first got there, fast food meant me and you going down and getting some organ noodles or something, right? Remember that place we used to go to? Or like a fried rice place or a duck restaurant or something like that. It's a quick thing you eat in the restaurant, or you can take it to go. Right?
What's your definition about fast food in China, though?
Well, fast food in China...
KFC and McDonald's?
Nowadays, that stuff is so prevalent, right? That's my point. And it's not just KFC and McDonald's. It's all of these rip-offs of them.
Oh, okay.
So what you'll get is if you leave the city center, there's no more KFC and McDonald's. There's these fake KFCs and fake McDonald's. And they'll often, like, remember Dongle King instead of Burger King?
Yeah.
And you have, like, KGC instead of KFC or whatever.
That's pretty gross, yes, but I got it.
These places are horrible.
Oh, my gosh.
The food is so cheap, but so inedible. You can't eat it. But what it attracts China's middle class. And it's funny because you can't think of China's middle class like you can the American middle class. Yeah. China's middle class is about 10 times poorer than the American middle class. So a Chinese middle class person, for them to go to fast food, it's kind of a treat, right? They can do it for sure, but it's kind of a treat. You go out there, but they're probably, if they're not going to go to KFC or McDonald's, they'll go to one of these like rip-off places, right? oftentimes new arrivals into a Chinese city that just moved to the city from the countryside, they'll also go to these places. So we're talking like a little burrito with a fillet of chicken or something in it for like, I don't know, $1.50 or something. These places are terrible. And so I've conditioned myself, because I ate so well in China, there's such good food that was also fast food because it was quick and you sit down and eat it from all around China in pretty much any city, right? I convinced myself that fast food like KFC, McDonald's, all those types of things are just so bad. But when I came back to the US, I realized that the amount of variety in the fast food, there's some pretty damn good fast food. It's not just McDonald's and KFC. We're talking like Habit Burger and like everything in and out. Like
you're obsessed.
It's awesome, right? It's fantastic. So I brainwashed myself. I couldn't get used to this. I brainwashed myself that fast food is just horrible.
But in China, actually, KFC, McDonald's, they are not horrible.
No, but that's the only option you have.
Yeah, they're legitimately, sometimes you walk in there, you don't even think that's KFC or McDonald's. They have all those fancy stuff.
I totally agree, but my point is like the good fast food in the US, let's say like In-N-Out or like Habit Burger or even Chick-fil-A or something like that, is much better than KFC or McDonald's in China. So in my mind, that was the best it got. Right. You come to the US and you realize that fast food can be fresh and delicious, which is different. In China, it's processed and it's garbage for the most part. So would you agree with that one?
They offer salad bar now, but yes, I agree.
Where?
In McDonald's.
In China?
Yeah.
They got rid of Pizza Hut's salad bar because of the salad mountains.
Well, that's not their fault.
That's not going to last very long.
They didn't get rid of salad bar. They get rid of that competition. They get rid of a $5 give you a bowl and then...
Yeah, like you can't have unlimited now.
But I think at that time, I'm pretty sure that also relate with some press. Think about 5 RMB. Actually, you can't actually. No. You stack it all up, it's still not 5 RMB.
No, that's true.
I'm pretty sure it's a marketing press.
You think so? Anyway, for you guys that don't know, Google like Pizza Hut China salad bar.
Bowl salad bar.
Yeah, they had this. It's a whole thing. We don't need to talk about it now. Okay. I hate talking about this too much because it's whatever, but like having a car in China is a burden. It's awful. Having a car in China is awful. Driving anywhere is awful. Think about driving from Shenzhen to Huizhou. It is something you have to mentally prepare for. You have to mentally be ready and emotionally ready to almost get in accidents, to sit in traffic, to hear honking, people cutting you off. You have to be cutthroat and rogue trying to avoid everyone. You have to pay a ton of tolls, and you have to arrive at your destination about 2 hours late because the traffic is so bad. Compare that to the US, driving is literally a pleasure. It's literally a pleasure.
There's no people.
There's no one on the road. I mean, like, in LA, depending on where you go, it's bad. But when people go, oh, you live in LA, it must be like in China. You don't understand.
Remember when we just arrived?
You gotta understand, China.
Remember when we just arrived? Your parents go to pick us up in JFK, and your mom was saying like, "Oh my gosh, the traffic is like so bad." Out, yeah. And when I look at it, it's like, wait, there's only 5 cars over there. It's like, oh, traffic's so bad.
We were like, what? What? We were. That was some shock.
To us, it's like the traffic is so bad means you literally can get off the car, start to play tennis and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so the culture, the shock for me that I still can't get used to is that driving is not an investment. I'm just now understanding that I can get in my car and do whatever the hell I want. I can just go for a drive if I want to. Whereas in China, you don't just get in your car to go for a drive. That makes no sense. You pack the picnic. You pack the life support supplies.
Yes.
In the car, you get the blankets and pillows ready.
I don't know. Is that the culture thing or something though?
That's also definitely a thing.
Since I was little, my parents every single time they go for a trip, this like, suitcase of food, and then jugs of water and prepare empty
oranges
water
and crackers and cakes.
Exactly.
Dude, and it can be for like a 45-minute drive. You know when we go for a drive, like every year we go to your like relative's house for Chinese New Year? Why are there so many snacks in the car? It's like right down the road. And I get nauseous when people eat in the car.
I know, me too.
It smells so bad.
No, like even I eat it if you're nauseous.
Yeah.
So my mom always like, If you're not gonna eat, you're gonna be hungry.
Yeah, I don't understand. So you can have already eaten an entire meal, but you still have to snack in the car, even if it's 45 minutes away. Because I think the theory is that back then they didn't have to go on a journey somewhere like that was a big thing.
I don't know.
Before cars.
I don't know. It's just a thing. It's just seriously a thing. My mom, my aunt, every single woman does that. And now to me, I go anywhere, I still need to pack snack. But
wait. I mean, you do
we
that.
Got little baby though.
You've cut down quite a bit.
I cut down, but we got little baby. Every single time, Wine in the car, shove the food. So quiet.
By the way, guys, this is live, so if you guys have super chat questions, pop them in. Don't be scared. We'll be doing them live. We're not going to not answer your questions until the end. We'll do it throughout. Okay, cool. Let me just glance at my notes here.
Okay.
Yeah, another thing is people just obeying the rules, right? That's something I still can't get over. If someone's pulling out of their driveway, I still almost have a heart attack and have to go back to the ICU. Because people, when they pull out in China, they're going for it. They're not going to stop, and they're not going to look. And I want to get this through you guys' head. You might think it's insane to pull out in front of ongoing traffic, right? You might think it's crazy. Why would you do that, right? Someone's going 65 miles an hour and someone's going to pull out in front of you without looking. Not only will they do that, they won't even make eye contact with you. And after you've screeched your brakes and you've almost gotten into an accident and you're screaming, you're like, what the heck? They'll just drive off and they won't even have the emotion. Explain this.
Especially every single time, like when we just landed, that couple of weeks is just a nightmare.
Yeah.
Every single time we drove out, we
in
literally
America.
Slam our brakes so hard.
I still do it. I did it yesterday.
Yeah.
I'd still do it.
Yeah. It's like you really worry about people pull out and just directly drive through. In China, they do. They just drive without...
But what's the idea? What's the idea?
They don't have stop sign, I guess.
They just don't have empathy.
They don't.
They could die. They could die. Do they? I actually think it's spatial awareness in China. I hate to say this, a good chunk of especially older Chinese society just doesn't care about strangers. We can admit that's just the case. And I think when you're in the car, you're that much more insulated from that idea. You don't have any empathy. My point is, and I get that, right? I get that's how China works, but. My point is, they're gonna die too. So what the hell? That selfishness doesn't even make sense in that situation.
Nothing makes sense.
Do you know how many times I've almost killed people / almost died?
Period.
What's that?
Just bad driver in general.
It's not just bad driving though. It's just are you aware that you're gonna die? I mean, I don't see it. It's bizarre. Obviously, there's a lot of people that you wouldn't do that. And a lot of people wouldn't do that. It's especially the people that bought their licenses.
Oh my gosh.
Like anyone over 50, that's bad.
That is horrible.
I mean, your mom drove the wrong way down the highway. In the car,
so many times scared the crap out of me.
I was screaming. I'm a grown man.
I can't even imagine she drive here. So.
Dude.
Oh, my dad.
Oh,
my dad came to visit. He scared the crap out of me when he was driving. Oh, my gosh.
It was like watching. So I bought a car for them, right? I bought a car for them to use while they were here. And before you say I'm rich, I bought literally a $1,500 car because it was cheaper than renting one.
It's literally $1,500.
It was cheaper than renting one. And then I could sell it after I was done, right? So... They're driving, and when we had to take our family somewhere, and then they were in the other car. I saw him get on the California highway system, and this is very uncharacteristic because Chinese people drive slow as hell. This is another culture shock thing is, it's crazy to drive in China, it's scary and it's dangerous, but Chinese people drive so slowly.
Slowly and dangerous.
Yeah, it's slow and dangerous simultaneously, right? But your dad got on that highway, man, it was like he was taming a wild bucking bronco on the highway. He was like, no turn signal, cutting people out. People are beeping. I was like, oh, I couldn't believe it. He almost hit me on my motorcycle.
I know. And oh gosh. Oh no, I don't want to tell him my dad. But he claimed himself, he is an okay driver in China. compare with
oh yeah, I was about to say if you compare
the majority of
comparison is the key.
But when he actually drive here, he scared the crap out of me.
Dude, it was that's a good reverse culture shock thing to bring a slice of because in China I'm not scared when I'm in the car with him, especially compared to your mom. Dude, it's a treat. It's a treat to be with him. But you bring a slice of China back to the U.S. like that, and it just becomes so apparent how bad the driving is in China. You put one of them here, and like especially watching your dad, you're like, now I remember.
And I'm pretty sure if we take American driver into China, I'm pretty sure he can't go through any street.
You just wouldn't move. You wouldn't die, you just won't move. I remember I was driving my dad when I was in China, and he was just like, you could see him just like, his brain just, it's like, what is going on? It's like 6 lanes cutting each other off. He's like, what the? Everyone's like 2 inches from hitting you. Yeah. You could tell he was just
I'm not really sure when I go back and I still drive. Probably the instant will come out. The monster is still going to come out.
Probably. Sick Lid says, C-Milk, did the doctors take out your brain? You're talking crazy. I feel like this is just par for the course. This is just how I talk, bro. But thank you very much. Jeff, how you doing, man? Glad you're okay. Message me later. I will. Madroon, did you see the NYPD officer arrested for spying for the Chinese government? He was sending info back to China on the anti-Chinese locals and protests. Yeah, it's like a Tibetan dude. He was working for the New York City Police Department. And he was spying on the Tibetan people in New York City and sending it back to the CCP. So, and he just got arrested, obviously. Good job. Shouldn't have blown your cover. Timothy Glenn, going back to Too Sweet in America, how you don't hear it. I find that people will say that food is too rich when they want to say it's too sweet. That's a good point. Oftentimes, I think too rich also means too fatty and too heavy as well. Yeah. So, yeah, it could be both. Thanks for that, though. MSP, how you doing, man? Does your wife tell you to wash your feet before bed? No, actually. I think you used to. Though.
I used to. I just give up. So technically, I'm literally always making fun of him about our bed sheet. On his sides, like have stain and blood and everything.
What the? What's going on?
You scratched the crap out of me.
I did. I got like a bunch of bug bites on my shoulders and I scratched them with blood.
So your side, even Lucia noticed. Daddy, ew.
Yeah, she does. She does that all the time.
Yeah, I give up. It's not because I don't care. I give up.
Stephen Kraft says, FYI, a lot of the leftover organs and stuff from beef and pork processing and such go to animal feed in the U.S. Interesting. Dog, cat, chicken, and some cattle feed. Here's something for your beer fund. Thanks. I'll be off the beer for a long time now after being in the ICU. Thank you. Yeah, that actually makes sense. I mean, I didn't say they're wasted like thrown away, but it's good that they're used for something. I would like to eat some of those parts.
You animals.
Zach T. Hi from the Southern Tier. Oh, it's my hometown. Recently got a dash cam, shocked at how many bad drivers I've recorded already. There's people that just have no cares for others. That's interesting, and I do understand, but I mean, you don't have to do this, Zach. You don't have to go to China to witness this, but you legitimately have no idea. You have no idea. Like, the worst driver you can find here, trust me, it's paradise.
Isn't this... People said like India and
whatever. I mean,
is like
it's not just, of course, it's not just China, but this is what I have experience with, right? Vietnam is weird. It's like the traffic is much crazier, but it's, for some reason, there's more flow to it. Oh. In China, it's like aggressive. Like, people are just, I gotta get in there. You know what I mean? It's a little different. Vietnam's more like everyone's just being a douche. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
David M says, the accident rate in China must be staggering. How could you trust your father-in-law to drive here? Glad you guys are okay. Honestly, we just had he wouldn't take no for an answer, so he would have gone and rented a car anyway. So we figured at least get him a very safe car.
And also buy
cheap, safe car, and buy insurance. And at least it's in our hands, at least something was in our hands. Thank you, I understand. This is an interesting one. Mm-hmm. Not to harp on the driving thing, but the wild spaces in between developed areas. So when you're in China, in a lot of China, we've been across the entire country, especially on road trips and stuff. You can drive from one city to another city, let's say 5 hours away, and the entire way there's lights. The entire way there's lights.
Mm-hmm.
It's lit up. There's towns, villages, and there's 1.4 billion people. There's shops. There's this. But you can get out of a major U.S. city within, like even New York City. You get outside of New York City for like 10 minutes, and you just start driving, and it's pitch black.
Not even drive out of the city. In Binghamton, oh my gosh, I refuse to drive at night. I almost like drove off the bridge.
Right.
There's no light.
Right.
Remember last time we went like long time ago when we were in Binghamton and we went out for a date night and then you have a little some like couple beer or something. You can't drive and I was done driving and. Okay, you are an idiot because first of all, I'm not used to there's no light out there.
Hey, it's just trying to be responsible.
And then the second thing is like, you gotta drive fast.
I thought you were gonna get pulled over. She was going like 30 and a 65.
I don't care if I got pulled over. I didn't drink. You keep saying like, you gotta get pulled over. You're gonna drive fast. You look suspicious.
I didn't want to deal with the hassle.
I can't see. How can I drive?
You're not blind. You have perfect vision.
Yeah, but it's too dark.
You were just, I know. Cautious. That's a good point, though. You just weren't used to it, right?
And then you could like drive. You're gonna get pulled over. Oh my gosh! Just like.
Hey.
Cool.
Oh, Zach T is back. Binghamton University has. Hey, that's my stomping ground. Has a lot of foreign students who have Maseratis who drag race the Parkway. Almost got hit head on by a driver on the Parkway. Was a freshman from China with lots of. Okay, so he's talking about Chinese drivers. Yeah, a lot of Binghamton University, tons of Chinese students. What is up? What is up with For or Die, second generation rich Chinese students and Maseratis? Why the Maserati? Maserati's not that good of a car, and it's expensive, but like it's not that good. It's like really a thing.
买就买最好的，买就买最贵的.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's 最好的. And then it's not 最贵的. It's not 最贵的.
Most expensive that you can, affordable expensive that you can flex. How about
that? I guess because you can flex against Americans, but then you can also just leave it here or whatever because you don't care.
I guess.
It does happen. No, it does happen. Anyways, I see tons of Chinese like For or Die students driving Maseratis for some bizarre reason. To me now, that car has lost all its flair because it's so common now. Anyway, thank you for sharing that. Another thing, let's have a little look here. I mean, we can say things like, the thing about the expanses. The last time I remember seeing like an absolute crazy expanse of stars, because you can see stars everywhere here. You drive like anywhere outside where there's no light pollution. You remember how many stars you can see? It's crazy, right? It's like you can see galaxies and stuff. The last time I remember doing that or seeing that was in Inner Mongolia.
Yeah. In
the middle of nowhere. Like, that only happened like once or twice, dude, in my whole time in China. Even in Taiwan, I don't remember seeing very many stars, you know. It's just too many people in one place and too much lights. Lots of lights in Asia. Everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Everywhere is lit up.
Yeah.
I can't say bad thing about that though, because I appreciate so that we can actually drive without danger.
You're impressed by the nature though. Let me ask you that. Like,
no, if you actually want to have nature, you go out. Fine, you will find a way. But seriously though, if the normal day that you go home, like you can't even see when you drive, that's dangerous.
That's true. Anyway, Dion Chapman, thank you very much. Zach T, my Binghamton bro. Thank you very much. Dumpster diving at BU. When school ends, you find everything like laptops and cameras and tons of good stuff. That's awesome.
Let's go.
Because all the Florida dives. Dude, we'll go to freaking UC Irvine or something. You know what I mean? Go see all the dumpster diving. That'd be sick. We could probably get a bunch of new stuff. Dion Chapman says, English, please. Dion, I don't think we're speaking Chinese, or are we? Where are we speaking? Oh, I think he's referring to that video I did where, remember that one?
Yeah.
It's like the TikTok propaganda about English, please. Let me tell you something. Chinese is the language of the future. Thank you for reminding me of that, Dion. Rain Carlson, thank you very much from Sweden. Very generous. A small donation to your entertaining videos from Sweden. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. I really miss Sweden. Vivi always hates when I talk about Europe because I backpacked through Europe, so I'm like, we'll be like driving around LA, or like we'll go inland, especially like in the areas where there's like farms and stuff. I'm like, that really reminds me of Italy, or that really reminds me of like Sweden.
Like I always go there. I know what exactly you're talking about.
She's like, she thinks it's like I'm humble bragging or something. Like, oh, I've been around the world.
You're just being ignorant about
the fact that you haven't been. I understand. You've been across the U.S.
It's like, did you think it looks like Italy? It was like,
we would have been in Europe already if it wasn't for frickin' the Wuhan flu, let's be honest. You know, dump the kids off at my parents. Hope mom's not watching. Dump the kids off at my parents, you know. Mm-hmm. When this is all cleared up, we're definitely going to Europe. Definitely. That's where she wants to go. I want to as well. Someone told me to speak Russian for 30 seconds, please. I can't speak Russian for 1 second. Spasibo. Okay, next. MSP, our bro from Denmark. Is Vivi afraid of ghosts? Example, Chinese water ghost. You can talk a little bit about the supernatural.
We grow up with the parents scare us with the ghost story, but I'm not really superstitious. Yeah, I'm not.
Superstitious, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really care about
But you can talk a little bit about the prevalence. Like, Chinese people are super superstitious.
Yeah. Because we grow up with that. Those older generation were just like, they keep talking about like, even there's a weird thing. It's like when my grandpa died that night, there's a huge moth, like just right next to. I don't think it was
that big.
It's this big.
What?
It's actually
like a Luna moth?
Like this big. It never happened in China.
I caught a fish this big.
It never happened in China, and then it was right next to my grandpa's, funeral picture.
Yeah.
And it's actually in my house, and I was like, "Oh, Mom, there's a bug there." I call it bug, and then my mom said, "Like, don't interrupt. That might be Grandpa watching us."
So you turned into a giant moth.
Might be.
I would definitely turn into something cooler than that.
So talk about water ghosts. People think water ghost is
yeah. Why don't you explain what the water ghost is?
Water ghost 水鬼 is like they will literally come out from the toilet and they will
grab your butt.
No, they just pull it. And also 水鬼 I think they said like it's people who drown and then but with a very unfinished business, so they want to drag people down.
Yeah, you haven't finished.
Oh my gosh!
I'm sorry.
Be pure.
I'm sorry.
And they have a lot of 怨气. How to say 怨气? It's like anger.
Sure, it's like pent up stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like if people swimming and stuff, they could drag you down and convert you.
I remember I heard about the Shui Gui when at Red Flower Lake because like those people kept drowning because there's like some seaweed or something in there. Actually, they just drowned. But a lot of people in my school they were saying the Shui Gui is pulling them down.
Yeah. First of all,
water ghost.
Probably water. It's something that people can't predict.
Right.
And they terrifying about the idea they don't know.
And Chinese people in general in China are not super strong swimmers, which doesn't help.
I don't have number about it, but if people around me, yes. Anyways.
In general.
In general. And also, every single year people go swim, they drown. The majority of people, the death unnatural is drowning. It's not car accident.
Oh, you mean from like...
I don't know.
I have a feeling car accidents are a much higher rate of death than drowning.
No, I'm not comparing.
Oh.
Car accident, definitely. But if drowning, like,
it's up
the
there.
Percentage is pretty high.
Yeah, it is.
So probably people will just, like, think about if you're not cautious enough and you gotta get drowned or something. And then they were just thinking, oh, it's 水鬼 and something. Made it up.
Makes sense.
They said 水鬼是最厉害的. It's the most powerful one. If they drag you, you're done.
What does a water ghost look like? I bet it's pretty cool.
It's like...
They
usually in the TV, there looks like a really scary rotten woman with the long hair, and then they leak water.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's pretty scary.
Yeah. Pop in your questions, guys. What I'm gonna do after this is over, I'm gonna edit it to keep all the parts in, and it'll be a video. But for you guys that can join in live, this is your chance to hang out with us. Sick Lid says, Lao86, are you a bear cat? That's a Binghamton bear cat. That's the mascot.
Oh.
Um, I think I left before they became the Bearcats, maybe. But I do know what that is. It's a pretty dumb name, if I'm totally honest. The Bearcat. You know what the dumbest thing is? My local...
Something pony?
Yeah, the local baseball team used to be the Binghamton Mets, which is great.
That sounds great.
Yeah, because it's the Mets. Mm-hmm. Now it's the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. A Rumble Pony!
Oh, there's another one that's more ridiculous.
It's because of the carousels. What?
Yeah, but no, there's some other game we watch is pretty funny, and then we're making fun of like something donkey or something I don't remember.
Oh, you mean playing against the Rumble Ponies?
Yeah.
Yeah, they all have ridiculous names now. I can't remember what it was.
The name. It's like, is that the dumber
like the wet donkeys or something?
I don't know. Never mind.
I don't know.
Let's not embarrass ourselves.
Yeah, whatever. Roman K, howdy from Nashville. Howdy. Glad to see you're healthy, Matt. I wouldn't go as far to say that yet. So we're not totally out of the water yet. The water ghost is probably pulling me back down. Vivi looking awesome. I'm still waiting to reunite with my fiance who's in Guangzhou. 2020 sucks. Yeah, that sucks, dude. Totally understand.
So they still can't come out, huh? I know the fact that it's really hard to flew down.
Apparently, according to Zach T, they were going to be called the Timber Jockeys as well. That sounds better than freaking Rumble Ponies. That sounds really like sexual. I just don't like that. I just don't like that at all.
You're in a very dark mind right
Dude,
now.
I'm trying to tell you, this is like this live stream with you guys, this is like my medicine right now. I've been through some very horrible things.
Yeah.
Very, very horrible things. Is there anything else that you want to throw in?
Me?
Yeah, like anything else that you can't get used to? What I mean, there's things like every time. This is something you are used to now. Every time you see someone, when you first came here, like if somebody made small talk, you're kind of like awkward about it or whatever. Now when you see someone
yesterday I scared grandma.
You're like, someone's like, hi, and you're like, hi. You went up like 7 octaves. I'm like, are you Mariah Carey or some shit? Like, hi. Hi. Oh, I love your dog. I'm like, is that my wife? Oh man, that's not my wife. Water Ghost got her someday. Seriously. I was like, I actually thought you were singing. Cause like I'm not super keen on small talk, but you're a pro apparently.
Wow, I'm in a game now.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Whoa, you're laughing because it's true. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, sorry. Glad to see. AQ TNet says glad to see you and Vivi. Glad you're better. Let's hope 2021 is a better year. Me too.
Hope so.
If I have to make never mind. If I have to make a video about something serious next week, I'm gonna like go in an even darker place.
I'm
just enjoying what we're doing right now. It's very fun. All of us need to mentally prepare, if I'm totally honest, or repair. I think everyone is just like, dude, it's because it gives you so much time to feed into like what's happening in the news and all this kind of stuff, and it just makes you feel like there's no hope, you know. And there is. I'll be honest with you. I have a ton of pent up anger, and I'm not an angry person against you know some certain forces within China for allowing this pandemic to happen, and it's really taken a toll on everyone. I think everyone's really mad. I mean, the fact that your daughters can't go out and play, I don't want to harp on it, but it's super.
You can't go to school. I'm so mad. I'm taking care of 2 kids.
The whole point of this was to be positive, right?
And every time you look at me, you say, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Look at that too. How can I be okay?"
Our house looks like a freaking war zone. Tim Studio says, "What's up from Syracuse? Shout out Northside. Yeah, what's up? Shout out Dinosaur Barbecue. Shout out the Orangeman. 42 Fab. What's up, bro? Timber jockeys are the cheerleaders riding wood."
So talk about shocking thing is like.
I didn't say shocking. I'm joking.
How something I can't say I'm not used to. It's like back then it takes me forever to agree with. It's American. They don't really care about their lunch. You guys only eat sandwich or some chips or cottage cheese and stuff.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
For us, it's just a meal.
That's
it's
a good
meal
point.
that you don't skip. Right? Now I'm converted.
Yeah, I was actually going to say I think I'm the one that treats it more like a real meal than you now.
Well, when you take care of kids, you cook and cook and cook. It's just like you want a break.
For sure.
And then I was like, oh, okay, sandwich, okay, cottage cheese with this and that. Make sure they have balanced meal and
no, I mean, they're eating healthily.
Yes, but back then I would just, if I only had one kid, remember until Olivia.
It's got to be a hot meal, yeah.
It gotta be like
a balanced hot meal.
A balanced hot meal. But by the time we have Lucia, I can't do that anymore.
Right.
So
right.
Is it because of the more kids you have, the more you don't care about the meal, or just like, I don't think so. It's a Chinese thing, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It makes me just doesn't. Back then, when I just fresh out the bowl, and I can't even do that. If I only eat a sandwich, I feel like I didn't eat lunch.
Sure. I mean, we eat more than that, but like, yeah, I totally know what you mean. For me, like, not to toot my own horn, but I do cook dinner every night. And for us, my point is that we've converted to, like in China, it's more important to eat a lunch compared to dinner. Yeah. And we've converted back to the American style now where I cook a full 3 or 4 course dinner every night, and that's our hot meal, and then our lunch now has reverted back to cold stuff. It's interesting. I usually have a salad or something.
Yeah, but it's after Lucia is born, and then we start to
yeah that's pretty much what
but before that I'm making sure everyone have hot meal. True.
Cool. This guy says Mulan video. Cool. Some cool dude recommended that, right? Oh, that's probably him. That's probably my patron that recommended that I do the Mulan video. Thank you for the suggestion, and it was a fun video to make. But everyone was confused. They were like, because if you guys haven't watched it, I did like this video about Mulan and why it sucked, why Chinese people think it sucks, and I did a parody of "Be a Man." Like in the beginning, I actually sang, and people are like, "Did you actually sing that?" Like, because they never heard me sing before. And I was like, yeah, like, but it took me by surprise because I've always done singing and music and parody stuff, but I've never really done it on YouTube. So everyone was like, what the hell? They were like, it caught me by surprise too. And a small donation for your next kid. Hey, come on, guys. Let's not jump the gun. Mr. Sweden over here thinks that we're fertility gods.
We love our kids, but... we also love each other.
Let's not make 2020, and let's not have a baby during the pandemic.
We need more us.
We ain't not want no baby during no pandy. But thank you very much, appreciate it. Monkey Fart 81. So, am I immature for laughing at that?
Wow, you're.
They named themselves that, and that means they were born in 1981, so they're older than me. I deserve to laugh at that. Love channels like your own so I can learn more about different countries. Thank you very much. And I hope that we are not just all doom and gloom. I hope that we're also entertaining too. I mean, that's what YouTube's all about. I mean, frick TV. Can I say that? Like frick TV. We like shows. Like we're watching Community right now. Great show. We finished New Girl not that long ago.
Oh my gosh.
We love like stuff that makes us feel good. But frick negative TV. You can turn it on. It's just like why do you want to watch more negativity? There's a difference between information, which is what I hope that my channel provides. Information versus like everything is horrible and everything's going to be bad. Being informed and also being entertained is exactly what the world should be, right? You should be in a positive headspace, but you should also know what's going on. Not like everything's dying, the world's burning. You know?
I mean, like probably some people there just like way over positive and nice, and they need some shock, and they
I really don't think that's what it's. I think it attracts negative people. The thing is, a lot of the times, and I hate to say this, but a lot of the times I'm so negative about the Chinese government is just because of how disappointed I am with the way it's gone. And it used to be such a fun place that felt like it was going better. Does that make sense? And I invested. And it's not that I'm bitter, but I invested so much of my time and energy and love into the country to not only just to promote it, but to make people humanize it. And then when you see a political change so stark and terrifying that it just rips all the hope out of your heart, it is, your obligation to tell the world of the way it's going, because a lot of people won't know any better. They'll think, oh, it's just China like it was 10 years ago. It's not, unfortunately. So, and we hope for the best. We do hope for the best, don't we? Whoa, sorry, I'm a little behind. Jordan Larimore says, first impression of American Walmart. That was probably a while ago. Huh?
Very big. First impression.
Thought it was big.
Huge.
What about the people at Walmart?
Huge.
Didn't even have to use a different word. Anyway.
No. Okay. There is another first impression. Remember, there is a Walmart that near your house. I remember. I still remember that scared crap out of me. So you forgot something. So we already check out. So I was like literally at the gate, the Walmart door gate,
right.
And then
not the gates of hell.
And then you told me that like, wait here, I'm gonna go back to pick up stuff. So all of a sudden, there are two people just like two couples just started punching each other and shout and cursing to each other. And I was like standing there, and of course, since I just got here,
right.
And then in my mind, everybody can carry a gun. What if the wife and the man try to shoot each other? I'm standing in the middle.
Well, I mean, that's a great first impression.
I was terrified. So that's my first impression about... The second impression about Walmart. First impression is huge and huge. Second is, that.
Well, I mean, you're a fan of Walmart now.
Still not so much, especially
not a fan, I shouldn't say.
No, especially COVID-19. We went there once. To be honest, I hate it because there's no social distance there. Like, yeah, they wear masks. They can wear just like cover their mouth and the nose still there, and then they just really easily just bump into you.
Yeah, it really depends on the kind of store you go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, some places are disappointing.
The one we went is absolutely bizarre.
Right.
So I hated that. I don't go there since then.
True. Cool. Let's have a little look. Jan Fauska, what's your experience with kids wearing diapers for too long? I heard even at school. Does that happen where you are? I was shocked in China that there are kids with split pants. Lol. Bad hygiene. Kids don't wear diapers at school here. In the U.S. He's from Czechia.
Depends. But before 3 years old, kids can wear a diaper. But after 3 years old, you have to potty train.
Yeah. You can't go to school otherwise.
Yeah, you gotta just.
At least in L.A. I don't know where else, but I'm pretty sure most schools.
In China, people just thinking nowadays people still using that, cloth thing. It's just. Worry about diaper rash and also cost different. So I grew up with I grew up without diaper. I used cloth when I was little. There's no washing machine too. No. They use hand wash.
That's how you keep the bacteria out.
And then put it back on me.
Nice. G. Voden, can you do a video on the virologist whistleblower? Probably not. There's enough coverage about that. There's really nothing I can offer in terms of insight kind of over that topic until something actually happens. You should come to Toronto. Lots of great Chinese food. I had a great subscriber meetup there, and I actually filmed a whole video about Chinese food in Toronto. I never released it. I don't even know why I didn't edit that. I should probably edit that.
I have a lot of friends there.
I shot it last winter, so I should wait until it's winter again, so it makes sense. Because it was all snowy. Truth Seeker. Rumors of Taiwan invasion during election? Nah. I highly doubt it. I wouldn't put too much stock in that. Again, the negativity, the idea that... No, not negativity. The idea that all these bad things are going to come to fruition? Probably not. Don't read too much into it. Roman K. Matt, share your go-to choices for home dinner, please.